I see our next guest walking up to to the conversation, I'll say it that way, and that is Kate Kohler. This is somebody that I work with every day. I have the privilege of being on Kate's team. Kate is a deputy district attorney at the Bucks County District Attorney's Office. Kate, how are you today?
Good. How are you, Matt?
I'm great. Thank you, Kate. Kate, you serve in many capacities the people of Bucks County, but one in particular that we have an interest in today is you're on the Bucks County Elder Abuse Task Force that we just heard about. Can you tell us about that experience?
Yes, Matt, I am. On our office, who investigates and prosecutes all criminal activity, but in particularity for today's purposes, obviously any neglect, abuse, or whether that be physical, financial, or sexual against older adults. And we work in conjunction with all of the other offices that we've heard from today to make sure that seniors are protected and that when a crime is committed, the wrongdoer is prosecuted and brought to justice.
And you made me think of this since you mentioned our other partners. You may be watching this as a whole, but if you're just watching this segment, I have to say special thanks to the Doylestown Township Board of Supervisors and the Telecommunications Advisory Board for making this possible. I'd also like to point out, I don't know if you saw this on the video, but Kate and I do have our protective gear here. We're a good 10 to 12 feet apart, but it's just easier for people that are viewing this to hear us if you can see our mouths. Kate, so we got into this a little bit here, but can you talk specifically about some of the ways that seniors have been victimized criminally?
Yes, Matt. Unfortunately, seniors or older adults, especially those with dementia or cognitive impairment, are more at risk to be abused by caregivers and sometimes loved ones. I've seen people be physically abused, sexually abused, unfortunately neglected, and financially exploited by even people that they love and trust.
It's terrible, but that is the reality of the world we live in. I'm sure that there are ways that we can arm people or prepare them. Can you tell people either if you are a caregiver that truly has the interest of the person you're caring for at heart, or if you're a senior, what are some of the signs, the warning signs that we should be on the lookout for?
So I guess if you want to take it one step at a time, for financial exploitation, there are ways you can protect yourself and things that can send you some red flags that something's going on. One of the ways is, look at your bank statements. If there's any large sums of money that are missing that you don't recall, authorizing any payment or the withdrawal from your bank account, that's a big red flag that something occurred. You can run your credit reports for free every 6 months, I believe. And if there's something flagged on your credit report that you had nothing to do with, that's a big red flag that your information is out there and being used. As a caregiver, if you witness your loved one acting in a different way, maybe a little bit more withdrawn, or appearing to be malnourished, or they have some bruising or unexplained injuries about their person, that's a huge red flag that something occurred. And criminal or not, report it and let us be the judges of whether or not something happened.
You touched on a couple things. I know you're on a roll here, but I want to just make a couple points before I forget. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I try to do to protect myself, which I think is a good rule of thumb, is if I'm going to make a purchase, I use a credit card as opposed to a debit card or cash or a check, because then that is covered. If there's any fraud, or if that card then gets used later and there's fraud, 99 times out of 100, the credit card company will make good on that. And on the instance of the one, I call Mike Bannon and he helps me out. Another thing that you touched on, Kate, is that people may be reluctant to make a call, and it could, if they feel they might be victimized, they're not sure, they trust a person, but they may be taken advantage of, or they could be embarrassed or ashamed. How do you feel about that?
I feel like we welcome every phone call. We want the reports. We want to do our jobs and protect older adults in this community. So there's no embarrassment, no shame that should be felt We're professionals and we deal with this unfortunately quite often. And we want to hear from you and we want to make sure you're protected. But in addition, when there's an observer, some type of, a caregiver or any type of observer who sees something that doesn't look quite right but is unsure, and those people I see a lot fail to report, not because they don't want to protect their loved one, but just because they don't want to tie up the law enforcement with something that may not be criminal. And we welcome those calls as well. We can easily determine whether or not a crime was committed. If it wasn't, we move along, no big deal. And if it was, we get to prevent any further crime and then look into who actually committed the crime and bring them to justice for the victims.
So the point being, err on the side of making that report and let us sort it out. Let us be the judge of whether a crime occurred, or we may make a referral to one of our partners that we heard from earlier today.
Exactly. Please let us be the judges. We are the ones who deal with this day in and day out, and hopefully, the people making those reports are not dealing with this day in and day out, so they may not know what to look for or what's important, and we can easily be able to discern that.
And I think it's safe to say that generally the first contact, if you suspect that you are a victim or your loved one has been a victim or somebody that you're entrusted to care for has been victimized, is to contact your local police first.
Yes.
But if somebody wants to contact us directly, we're fine with that. How do they get in touch with us?
Well, Matt, they can walk right in the door if they want. We are located in Doylestown, 100 North Main Street in the Bucks County Justice Center of the second floor. If you do contact your local law enforcement or call 911, they know how to get a hold of us. You can call our office directly at 215-348-6344, and we will definitely sit down and take your call or sit down and take a meeting with you if you are a walk-in. We will also refer you to, the proper agency if we believe that a different agency needs to step in as well.
There's another way, and you can make a referral or leave us a tip anonymously, and that's on our website, which is bucksda.org. There's a little button you click on there. If you want to leave a tip, you can leave a tip anonymously or to be contacted back by law enforcement. And one thing that I pride our office on is that we answer every tip, we return every phone call, we address every issue that we have. We're very proud of the reputation that we have for keeping people safe. It's been a real challenge during the time of COVID here, but it is our mission, and it's something that we're sworn to do. Kate, I'll let you give the last word here. Is there anything else that you'd like to say?
I did just want to touch on, you had asked how older people can protect themselves. There were a couple other things I think are important, and at some point in all of our lives, we may need the assistance of other people and caregivers, and that means that we have to allow them access to our homes and sometimes our finances. But it's really important to vet those people that you allow into your lives. So run background checks on them, ask around, word of mouth, call Consumer Protection and see if they have been flagged as a scam artist or someone who's been arrested on something else. And always keep in contact with your loved ones so that, if they don't hear from you, it will be a red flag for them to come looking and see if anything's okay and everything's okay. And you did touch on the power of attorney stuff before. I just wanted to, a lot of people do have to designate power of attorneys, and that's a completely fine and appropriate thing to do. But what you can do is also have a third-party designee where your power of attorney, everything that they do, they have to submit receipts and bank statements and documents to that third-party designee, which keeps them honest, and that's what we want. We want everybody to be honest and not scam you. But even if you love this person, you trust this person, they are your son, your daughter, your neighbor, your best friend, it's always a good thing to just take away the opportunity or the temptation to commit a crime, because sometimes money and power can go to people's heads in ways that we don't know.
It's a little cynical, but I have to say it's great advice. What was the old saying? Trust but verify. It's always good to have a system of checks and balances. Well, that was great, Kate. Thank you for bringing us home here I've been joined in this last conversation by Kate Kohler, Deputy District Attorney of the Bucks County District Attorney's Office. You've really heard from some outstanding experts in the field of essentially elder law, elder abuse, consumer protection, area agency on aging, and the District Attorney's Office. Hopefully you've gotten something out of this, but even if you forget everything we said, we wanted to make sure that you had access to our information. It's an ever-changing world out there. One thing you know for sure, the scammers are out there. They're very active, but we are here protecting you. We are here to continue to protect you. All you have to do is pick up the phone or type out that website on the email or website address, and we'll be there to help. Thank you very much to everybody who was tuning in, and be safe.